dear students, myself Gangadhar Solanke, and I welcome you all to the MCGM's virtual classroom. My dear students, today in Standard 9's Geography, we'll be learning the topic Transport and Communication. So, in this topic, we are going to learn about the factors to be considered for transportation and many more things about the transportation, and at the same time, we'll talk about communication or the means of communication. So, first thing on the screen you can see, which is given in our textbook. Complete the following table. Transport route is given in a one column, then in second one means of transport, and in third one used for. So, for the first ट्रांसपोर्ट रूट रोडवेज ये कंप्लीट करके दिया है हमें. मीन्स ऑफ ट्रांसपोर्ट रिक्शा फॉर एग्जांपल, and used for passengers. Now, transport route roadways and the means of transport is truck. Then for what it is used, that you people have to write very simple questions or very simple answers we can say for this. You just have to complete this. Then the third one, waterways, means of transport, you can write boat or ship, and used for you can write here your answer. Then airways, helicopter and plane you can write. Then the uses for passenger you can write, and other uses also. In waterways, submarine is given. Then one more you can write, and here used for is freight. Then railways and pipelines. So, by doing this you can easily understand what we are going to learn in this topic. Now, we have given some specific conditions in this context and tell with reasons which means of transport and route will you take. Now, these are very simple things, and just to recall our previous knowledge or just to check the surrounding things or the general knowledge we can say. And the questions are, you have to reach Bhopal from Nagpur. From Nagpur to Bhopal due to some emergency, then which means of transport route will you take? So, here the word which we have to underline or the circle is emergency. आपको ऐसे नहीं कि 2-4 दिन में जाना है या फिर 8 दिन में जाना है. There is something which is very urgent. So, emergency आपको जाना है भोपाल नागपुर से. Then which means of transport you will take? Then second one, you have to reach Kanyakumari carrying the message of cleanliness, and there is no time limit for it. Then which means of transport will you take? Now, you people may read about such messages on the newspaper or in news कि कुछ लोग बहुत जगहों पे ऐसा होता है कि एक जगह से दूसरी जगह जाने के लिए निकलते हैं और कुछ एक मैसेज उन्हें देना होता है फॉर द पब्लिक, फॉर द सोसाइटी. तो ऐसे नहीं कि एक जगह से बैठे और वहाँ पे जाके उतरे. वाइल ऑन द रूट सारे लोगों को ये बताते हुए जाना पड़ता है, एंड फॉर दैट यू नीड टू यूज़ द व्हीकल लाइक बाइसिकल या फिर टू व्हीलर, सो दैट you can contact with many people, you can talk with many people. So, in this condition, which means of transport will you take, that you have to write. Then the next one, send the Alfonso mangoes from Konkan to Arab countries. Then the same question for this also. Indrayani variety of rice next to the Alfonso mango. Indrayani variety of rice has to exported from Pune to Cape Town of South Africa at low cost. Now again here it is very important to understand this at low cost. ऐसा नहीं कि हमें इंद्रायणी वैरायटी ऑफ राइस जो है वो पुणे से केप टाउन पहुंचानी है और बहुत ज़्यादा पैसा हमारे पास है, बहुत ही कम रेट में पहुंचाना है ताकि प्रॉफिट जो है वो भी बन सके. सो इन दिस केस विच मीन्स ऑफ ट्रांसपोर्ट रूट विल यू टेक? Then the next one, large scale production of vegetables in Nandurbar, where in Nandurbar has taken place but is not fetching a good price. So, the Nagpur Surat National Highway and the Surat Bhusawal railway line passes through the district. So, you have to go to Singapore from your village or town, then you have 10 days to do the same. Now in these different conditions, you people have to discuss on these situations and think about the means of transportation. And when you people will talk about this, discuss about this with your friends or with your parents, then it will be very easy for us to understand the topic. And now the next thing, as we people know that while traveling or transporting goods, we have to consider many things like time, then the about money. So if there are many ways and means of transport available, then we can think about those alternatives. So there are roadways, railways, waterways, airways and pipelines by which transportation can be done, or one can move from one place to another place by using roadways or by railways or by waterways or by airways, or transportation can be done by using pipeline. Now on the screen you can see the factors which should be kept in mind while selecting the routes and means of transport. Again two things are there, route आपका decide होने के बाद then you can think about the means of transport. Now on the screen you can see factors to be considered for transportation, physiography of the place where you are going, where you are moving, and at the same time the place from which you are moving or thinking about transporting something. So physiography is very important. Then routes and means, which type or kinds of routes are available, whether it is roadway or railway or waterway or pipeline. Then the market, products, which product you are transporting from one place to another place. Then time, how much time it will take to move from one place to another place, or how much time it will take for transportation. So time is also very important factor, always we have to think about this. We should always think about the time. जैसे हम एक स्टेट से दूसरी स्टेट में जाते हैं, if we people use railway then it will take less time, बट वहीं अगर हम रोडवेज से जाते हैं और रोडवेज में हम 4-व्हीलर यूज़ करते हैं तो भी हमें बहुत ज़्यादा टाइम लगता है, एंड ऑल्सो रेलवे से पैसा भी हमें वहाँ पर ज़्यादा लगता है. सो द नेक्स्ट फैक्टर इज़ कॉस्ट. नेक्स्ट टू द कॉस्ट अगेन ड्यूरेशन एंड distance. How much is the distance between two places? To think about this also is very important. Nowadays we people always check it on Google Maps or on Google or by using our mobile phone also. And the next one, climate. Sometimes it is very important to think about climate also. If you are planning to move from one place to another place during rainy season, then it is also very important to think about the climatic conditions of the both places from where you are moving and where you want to go. So these are the factors which are very important or to be considered for transportation, like climate, physiography, routes and means, market, products, time, cost, duration and distance. Now here you can write your own experience also. बहुत बार ऐसा होता है कि हम कहीं एक जगह से दूसरी जगह जा रहे होते हैं और बीच में कुछ ना कुछ प्रॉब्लम आई हुई होती है while moving या फिर ट्रांसपोर्टेशन में. अगर आपको उसका एक्सपीरियंस है या फिर आपने किसी से सुना है, और यू कैन डिस्कस इट विथ योर पेरेंट्स, और हम वो एक्सपीरियंस जो है शेयर कर सकते हैं, और यू कैन राइट इट डाउन इन योर नोटबुक. सो इफ़ यू कंसिडर द factors which are there on the screen, then our time and money is saved during the journey or transport. Traveling become comfortable, transport is done without any damage to the goods. This is again very important. While transportation, it is very important to take care of the goods. जिसका हम ट्रांसपोर्टेशन कर रहे हैं, जिस चीज़ का, उससे डैमेज ना हो, इसका ख्याल रखना बहुत ज़रूरी होता है. Then the selling price to be paid by the customer is not decided by the cost of production only, but it is decided by the transport cost and production cost. Whenever we are buying something, the cost is not only production cost, And the best example of this is if you are buying something in your local market, and if you are buying the same thing in the wholesale market, or where the production is there, or the near to the place where its फैक्ट्री, देन जो डिफरेंस है प्राइस में वो आपको समझ में आएगा, क्योंकि वहाँ पर जो है हो सकता है कि हमें ट्रांसपोर्टेशन चार्ज नहीं देना पड़ता है, लेकिन लोकल मार्केट में हमारा जो लोकल दुकान वाला है उसने उस चीज़ को कहीं से लाया है और वो लाने के लिए उसे पैसा देना पड़ा है, उसका भी पैसा हम देते हैं. फॉर बेस्ट एग्जांपल ऑफ दिस इज़ वेजिटेबल और नाउअडेज फ्रूट्स वी कैन टेक. जैसे वाटरमेलन है, अगर आप फार्मर के खेत में जाके वाटरमेलन खरीदोगे तो आपको सस्ता मिलेगा, लेकिन हम हमारे शहर में अगर ख़रीदते हैं तो फार्मर के खेत से हमारे शहर तक आने में उससे जितना पैसा लगा वो भी उसमें ऐड हो जाता है. एंड दैट इज़ व्हाट इट इज़ गिवन इन आवर टेक्स्ट बुक, दैट इट इज़ डिसाइडेड, द प्राइस, सेलिंग प्राइस of the thing is decided by the transport cost and the production cost. So the transport of freight should be done rapidly and safely. The price of the good can be kept low if the transportation is affordable, and it should be always affordable so that less price जो है वो हमें मिल सकती है उसकी. So transportation is a basic infrastructure in the development of any country. Transportation plays very important role, or we can say that the good transportation boosts the economy of the country. So the development of transportation infrastructure is an indicator of the development of the country और दैट रीजन. इफ़ ट्रांसपोर्टेशन इज़ गुड तो व्यापार अच्छी तरह से होता है, एक जगह से दूसरी जगह जाने में कम टाइम लगता है और बिजनेस जो है उस एरिया का वो बढ़ जाता है. सो द रिफॉर्म्स इन ट्रांसपोर्ट सेक्टर इन्हांस द डायनामिसिटी ऑफ फ्रेट एंड पैसेंजर्स इन अ region. Also industries and markets develop because of this. Economic growth gets a boost. Economic growth gets a boost, and per capita income PCI and gross domestic product GDP increases too. So for any underdeveloped or developing country to be developed country, it is very important to think about the infrastructure in the field of transportation. And nowadays in our country we can see that everywhere there we are seeing the works of the road, and which will help our country in future. While reading a map, we can easily see the patterns of transport routes on the screen. Also you can see the patterns of transport routes. We can see the distribution of transport routes. What we can see? The distribution of transport routes in the form of dense network at some places. Dense network of the transport route at some places, and sparse network. कहीं पर बहुत अच्छी ट्रांसपोर्टेशन फैसिलिटी होती है तो कहीं पर नहीं होती है. Now for what reasons does a region become devoid of any transport route, and why does a dense network develop in some regions? These questions can arise in our minds, and to answer these we need to see the physical map of the region along with the transport map. And when we read both the maps simultaneously, we get the answers to those questions. And for this, in our textbook, figure 11.1 and figure 11.2 is given. In 11.1 you can see Satara district major water bodies and landforms, and figure 11.2 Satara district major roads, railways and famous places. So two maps are there on the screen, and if you people read it carefully, then the questions are there for you. In which region do you find a dense network of transport routes in the map? So you people just go through the maps, observe the map and try to answer this question. In which region do you find a dense network of transport routes in the map? Now by reading two maps you can easily understand this. Here we can see the dense network transport. Then how is the physiography of the region with dense network? It's kind of moderate. Then which region has a sparse network of transport routes? This area especially you can see. Then how is the physiography of this region? Look for the region lacking transport routes and what kind of obstruction can you find there. Now if you people discuss about this in detail, then the western part of the Satara district is occupied by the Sahyadris and its offshoots, and its elevation is higher and its topography is undulating. So in this region lies the extensive Shiv Sagar reservoir of the Koyna dam, and so that the transportation things which we can see in the map. The central and the eastern part of the district, the central and the eastern part of the district are comparatively lower and medium elevations. So it is depend on all these factors on or all these things. Then next point, considering the physiography of the Satara district. If we people consider the physiography of the Satara district, the transport network is sparse in the west, whereas its density on the eastern side is medium. Satara district, the transport network is sparse in the west and its density on the eastern side is medium, and comparatively the central part of the district has a dense transport network. This central part again, you may have noticed that a national highway and a railway route pass through this part of the district. Now in the figure 11.2 you can see this one, railway route, and not only railway route but a national highway. This national highway pass through this part of the district. So there are many road networks, connecting the highway. You will realize that the physiography, that is hills, valleys, rivers, etc. of a region affects its transport routes. So all these things again very important when we people think about any particular region and development in the field of transportation or the infrastructure of the transportation. So not only this, distance, physiography, routes and means, market, climate, products, time, cost, duration, these are the factors to be considered for transportation. But ये सारी चीज़ें available होने के लिए physiography of that area is important. Now on the screen you can see the importance of transportation, extending trade and network. Importance of transportation, because of this extending trade and network very easily and कम टाइम में. देन रैपिड इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन, इंडस्ट्रीज ऐसी जगह पर ही बनती है कि वहाँ पर अगर कुछ प्रोडक्ट बनेगा तो वो और एरिया में जाने के लिए उस इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट को ईजी पड़े, उसको उसमें खर्चा कम आए और बेसिक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर जो है वो अवेलेबल होना चाहिए. देन रीजनल कनेक्टिविटी, availability of employment opportunities, utility of the site, overcoming scarcity if any, like water or any natural resources, then decreasing regional imbalance and tourism development. Decreasing regional imbalance means it should be not in like very much अर्बनाइज्ड एरिया और इन रूरल एरिया, तो दोनों को एक बैलेंस रह सके ऐसा देखा जाए. सो ऑल दीज आर द फैक्टर्स which are on the screen mentioned as importance of transportation. And now the next point, communication. We are going to talk about communication now. Like transportation, communication is also a basic infrastructure, but before that, on the screen you can see journey of an organ, which means green corridor, which is given in our textbook. It happens that sometimes a dead person has donated his organs. Again, the same thing I am repeating here. People may read in newspaper about this, or people may heard about this in the news channel कि किसी एक्सीडेंट में किसी की मौत हो जाती है, तो हो सकता है कि वो अपने ऑर्गन्स डोनेट कर सकते हैं ताकि किसी और को उन ऑर्गन्स का फ़ायदा हो. सो इन सच केसेस सच ऑर्गन्स नीड टू बी ट्रांसपोर्टेड from the donor's location to the receiver urgently, but there is the limit of time, या फिर एक टाइम बाइंडिंग होता है क्योंकि वो जो ऑर्गन है उसकी लाइफ का एक टाइम डिसाइड किया गया होता है. सो इट हैपन्स दैट समटाइम्स अ डेड पर्सन हैज़ डोनेटेड हिज ऑर्गन्स एंड इन सच केसेस such organs need to be transported from the donor's location to the receiver urgently, and for this organ transfer all types of routes are cleared of all obstacles. पूरा रोड जो है वो एक ऑब्स्टैकल्स को हटा के एक एक्सप्रेस वे जिसे हम कह सकते हैं कि बीच में कोई भी नहीं आएगा, सीधा जहाँ से लेना है ऑर्गन वहाँ से वो गाड़ी जहाँ पे देना है उसी हॉस्पिटल में जाके रहेगी. सो दिस इज़ कॉल्ड ग्रीन कॉरिडोर एंड कॉन्सिक्वेंटली rapid transport of the organ can save the receiver's life, and number of examples are there now around us about this green corridor. Next point is of RORO, that is roll on roll off transport. Transportation can be done from one station to another station using railways, and freight transport is carried out on a large scale on national highways. The freight transport by trucks is costlier than railways. On the screen you can see the images here. As a solution or via media, the RORO transport system has started being used in India. And what is this system? In this system, the trucks loaded with goods are transported to desired stations through a good train. Like on the screen you can see. अगर ये ट्रक एक जगह से दूसरी जगह पहुंचेगी और डिस्टेंस बहुत ज़्यादा है तो टाइम भी ज़्यादा लगेगा और पैसा भी ज़्यादा जाएगा. तो इजी मेथड क्या है कि उसको ट्रेन पे रखा जाता है और उसको एक जगह से दूसरी जगह पहुंचाया जाता है. दैट इज़ व्हाट इज़ रो ट्रांसपोर्ट. इन दिस सिस्टम द ट्रक्स लोडेड विद गुड्स आर ट्रांसपोर्टेड टू डिजायर्ड स्टेशंस थ्रू अ गुड ट्रेन, एंड फ्रॉम देयर द ट्रक्स take the goods ahead to desired locations. And as railways are used for part of the distance, cost of transport is reduced compared to roadways. Thus cost of fuel and pollution caused by trucks can be reduced, and the use of RoRo services started in Konkan Railway for the first time in India. As a Maharashtrian, this is proud thing for us that the RoRo transportation service started in Konkan Railway for the first time in India. So in today people learnt about transportation and now communication. Like transportation, communication is also a basic infrastructure. Communication or exchange of information. Communication or exchange of information. In the transportation, exchange of goods. एक जगह से दूसरी जगह चीज़ें जाती है या फिर लोग एक जगह से दूसरी जगह जाते हैं. बट इन कम्युनिकेशन इन्फॉर्मेशन goes from one place to another place. So communication or exchange of information is an important process in today's era. And for this, the pictures given in our textbook, mobile tower, then this one GPO and newspaper stall. From all these things we share information or the things go in air, and we get all these things through the different mediums. So what you people have to do, make a list of various means of communication you are aware of, about which you know. Then how many of these do you actually use? पहले तो लिस्ट बनानी है, देन उसमें से एक्चुअली आपने कितने यूज़ किए फॉर कम्युनिकेशन, एंड फॉर व्हाट डू यू यूज़ देम, व्हाट इज़ द पर्पस, एंड हु यूजेस द रिमेनिंग मीन्स. फॉर एग्जांपल ईमेल्स, एसएमएस कॉल्स और एमएमएस, ये तो डेफिनेटली आपने यूज़ किया होगा. लेटर्स एंड पिजन्स. So in today's modern age, man-made satellites are an important and effective means of communication. In today's modern age, man-made satellites are an important and effective means of communication. Here one thing which is very important for us to understand or to take into consideration, हमारा जो वर्चुअल क्लास अभी नहीं चल रहा है बिकॉज ऑफ दिस कोविड पैंडमिक, लेकिन दैट थिंग वॉज ऑल्सो डिपेंड और इज ऑल्सो डिपेंड ऑन द सैटेलाइट के थ्रू ही हमारी क्लासेस चलती थी. द एक्सचेंज ऑफ मैसेजेस थ्रू mobiles, watching programs on TV, getting updated information regarding climatic conditions, etc., is possible simultaneously through man-made satellites, because these satellites take the pictures of Earth, or because of the signals of the satellite, all these things are possible. Satellite images obtained by remote sensing facilitate study of resources on Earth's surface and help in regional planning. So nowadays satellites are very important. In this age of internet and social media, everyone needs to use this system and for different purposes. The government of India is incentivizing the use of online trading, payments, money transfer, etc. ऑनलाइन ट्रेडिंग, पेमेंट्स, मनी ट्रांसफ़र, आपने देखा होगा कि बहुत बार अभी नए नए जो ऐप्स है वो यूज़ किए जाते हैं टू ट्रांसफ़र मनी. किसी को पैसे देने के लिए ज़रूरी नहीं कि हमें उसके पास जाना है और उसके हाथ में पैसे देने हैं. मेनी ऐप्स or applications which can be used on mobile phones, for example Paytm or Google Pay or Bheem app, have been developed, and through these communicational facilities we can pay various bills, for example light bill or phone bill, sell, buy and carry out such transactions. Communication facilities have now developed on a large scale, and in each and every field people are using this. This is not just limited to talking on telephones or sending messages, but also video calling is available now. And in school nowadays, Zoom app is in use for taking lectures. Similarly, through video conferencing, here you can see we can talk to many people at a time. So transportation changed our life, and at the same time communication ने तो उसकी जो नेक्स्ट स्टेप है वो ही हमारे लाइफ में ला दी. Besides the above facilities, means of communication have a few threats associated with them, and it includes many crimes are happening through internet, like website or email hacking, fraud, theft, attack, wars and terrorism, etc. So possibilities of threats like theft of information, economic frauds, attacking important websites, etc. arise. On the screen you can see cybercrime cases go from 25 to 155 in 2 months, fighting the new age mafia, rise in cybercrime during lockdown. So all these things or news cuttings are related with the cybercrime, and therefore one should take precautions while using social networks. Nowadays it is very important. जैसे पहले हमारे घर में पैसे होते थे, गहने होते थे, और डर था कि चोर आकर उसे चोरी कर सकते हैं. Same thing is there. Now our bank accounts or our information is linked with our mobile phone or with our Google account. और अगर वो हैक हो गया तो हमारी इंफॉर्मेशन या फिर हमारा पैसा क्या हो सकता है, जा सकता है. And that is why it is very important to take precautions while using social networks. We should not reveal our information. We should not reveal our information before ensuring safety. We should not put any sensitive information or personal information, sensitive information or personal information on social networking sites or on blogs, or we should take care of all these things while doing. On the screen you can see figure 11.6, which shows the image of cyber attacks, and these attacks are happening in between various countries, and this will give you an idea of the cyber wars happening in the world of internet. अभी किसी एक देश को दूसरे देश पे अगर अटैक करना है तो ज़रूरी नहीं है कि अपने सोल्जर्स ही उनके बाउंड्री पे भेजे जाए. साइबर अटैक्स के थ्रू भी एक दूसरे की इकोनॉमी को छेड़ा जा सकता है, एक दूसरे की इकोनॉमी को कुछ प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट किया जा सकता है. ऑन द स्क्रीन यू कैन सी अटैक टारगेट्स हियर. Country United States 887, I think that number is. Hong Kong 51, then Spain 39, Thailand 32, Argentina 28, Canada 22, Norway 21, Portugal 20, Australia 17, and Bulgaria 17. Here attack origins, so that also you can see here, and here attacks. So by this image we can easily understand how serious thing is this. So in today's topic we people learnt about the transport and communication. Please subscribe the channel and press bell icon to get notifications. So my dear students, this is all for today. Thank you very much. Stay home, stay safe, take care.